That was a big one, if not an unintentional one. Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Congregation of Phoenix. My name is John LaBarbera, and I am going to be your worship leader today. My pronouns are, thank you so much. My pronouns are he, they, and every week we say that each service here at UUCP is a little different. Well, today is no exception. For the next hour or so, a few friends and I are going to be playing some music from a very unique time in this country's history, a fascinating decade called the 1960s. Thank you. Throughout the morning, we'll be connecting these songs with our newly adopted UU values. And just so you know, most of the service will be done right here in this area. There will be some stuff on the pulpit. Most of it's going to be right here. So feel free to orient yourself, your chair, just move around if you'd like. And before we go any further, Bill Snowden will lead our chalice lighting.
Hello, I'm Bill Snowden.
Yeah!
And I'm your worship associate today. Then my pronouns are he, him. And I would like you to join me as we recite our covenant. And Donna Featherston is going to light the chalice.
Woo!
If you're watching remotely and have a chalice with you, please light it with us. Love is the doctrine of this congregation.
The quest for truth is our sacrament, and service is our prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge in freedom, to share our strength in fellowship, thus do we covenant. Thank you, Bill. Thank you, Donna. We are now officially covenanted. You know, music is an integral part to the human experience. We can sing along, play along, dance along. Music makes us feel good. Music can also make you think. Music can advocate for social change that was so sorely needed in the 60s and now in 2024 seems more relevant than ever. The folk revival of the 1960s played a critical role in the civil rights movement and the campaign for nuclear disarmament, and truly led the charge in protesting the deeply unpopular Vietnam War. I'll be embodying the spirit of Phil Oakes. So without further ado, here are your opening words. I marched to the Battle of New Orleans at the end of the early British wars. The young land started growing, the young blood started flowing, but I ain't a-marching anymore. For I've killed my share of Indians in 1,000 different fights. I was there at the Little Big Horn. I heard many men lying, I saw many more dying, but I ain't a-marching anymore. It's always the old to lead us to the wars, always the young to fall. Now look at all we've won with the saber and the gun. Tell me, is it worth it all? For I stole California from the Mexican land, fought in the bloody Civil War. Yes, I even killed my brothers and so many others, but I ain't a-marching anymore. For I marched to the battles of the German trench in a war that was bound to end all wars. Oh, I must have killed 1,000,000 men, and now they want me back again, but I ain't a-marching anymore. It's always the old to lead us to the wars, always the young to fall. Now look at all we've won with the saber and the gun. Tell me, is it worth it all? For I flew the final mission in the Japanese sky, set off the mighty mushroom roar. When I saw the cities burning, I knew that I was learning that I ain't a-marching anymore. Now the labor leaders screaming when they close the missile plants. United Fruit screams at the Cuban shore. Call it peace or call it treason, call it love or call it reason, but I ain't a-marching anymore. No, I ain't a-marching anymore. Thank you. Now, since this song was written, we as a country have been involved in far more too many military conflicts. We can even expand this globally. As we all know, there are 2 ongoing wars half a world away that have direct effects on us, our well-being, and even our relationships with one another. This is why we need to embrace interdependence, one of our new UU values. We honor the interdependent web of all existence. With reverence for the great web of life, and with humility, we acknowledge our place in it. We covenant to protect Earth and all beings from exploitation. We will create and nurture sustainable relationships of care and respect, mutuality and justice. We will work to repair harm and damaged relationships. Now that you're all settled in, welcome. No matter who you are, where you come from, how you worship, or how you identify, you are welcome here. Welcome home, and welcome to worship. Welcome as we explore the mysteries of being human together in community. We're so glad you're here. If you are just joining us, my name is John LaBarbera. I use he, they pronouns, and it's an absolute honor to serve as your worship leader this morning. The Unitarian Universalist Congregation of Phoenix strives to be a spiritual community for our time, one that is theologically diverse, radically inclusive, and justice-centered. If you're new here, we're very glad you found us, especially today. Like I said earlier, each Sunday is different here, so please come back a few times to really get to know us. If you're willing and able, and you're brand new here, would you please wave so we know you're here with us? Hello. Hello. Awesome. Okay. I guess we don't have any announcements today. That's great. Then everything's great, right? Okay. So now we draw deeper into the present moment and into our worship. I will once again strike these bells because I don't know how to use the bowl. I now invite anyone who'd love to come up for Together Time. There you go.
Good morning. Glad
All
you're
right.
here. Anyone else? Anyone young or just feeling young at heart is welcome.
It's a sing-along.
It is. Mm-hmm. Well, you've got some important lines to help me out with. Mm-hmm. I know you can do it. Okay, but first we're going to do a little history lesson. Y'all ready for that? Okay, so do y'all know how old the United States of America as a country is? Any guesses? Sam?
Thank you so much.
200 You're on the right track.
48.
You are completely correct. That is exactly right. 248 years. Woo! Go Sam. And now, does anyone know how long women have had the right to vote? Absolutely. You got it. You got it before I could even finish my sentence. You're on the ball. That's right. We've only had the right to vote since 1920 in a country that's almost 250 years old. And that didn't even include all women or all men. The Equal Voting Rights Act of 1965 finally banned discrimination based on race in voting and gave everyone the true right to vote. That didn't mean that women were fully equal, though. Even then, we couldn't get our own bank accounts. That didn't happen until the 1970s. The Equal Credit Opportunity Act only passed 50 years ago in 1974. Yeah. My mother was 20 years old when that passed. I got my first bank account at 17. She took me to get my first bank account. When she was 17, she could only dream of having one. So we're going to sing a song that was born out of a line given in a speech by Helen Todd, who proudly fought to get women the right to vote. It's called Bread and Roses. Specifically, Todd stated that when women won the right to vote, bread, which is home, shelter, and security, and the roses of life, music, and education, nature, and books, shall be the heritage of every child that is born in the country. Sounds good, right? That sounds like what we're still aiming for. Mm-hmm. And that line from her speech was turned into a poem which was used during labor strikes, particularly by textile workers, people who worked with fabrics and clothing, who were mainly women. Here, the bread symbolized fair wages, and the roses symbolized fair, dignified working conditions. Throughout the years, this poem has been put to music. It's been sung on picket lines and at protests throughout the country, and it's even a traditional song at Seven Sisters colleges, Mount Holyoke, and Bryn Mawr. It was brought to a modern audience during the women's liberation movement of the 60s and 70s by musicians Mimi Farina and Judy Collins. We are proud to perform it for you and embrace the UU value of equity. We declare that every person is inherently worthy and has the right to flourish with dignity, love, and compassion, roses as well as bread. We covenant to use our time, wisdom, attention, and money to build and sustain fully accessible and inclusive communities. Okay, now when I sing, will you help me out a little? I know you can. Okay, the line bread and roses comes up a few times. Will you sing it with me like we're at a protest? Okay, I'm going to sing it first. Listen carefully, and then you're going to sing it with me a couple of times till we got it, okay? Okay, the line is bread and roses, bread and roses. Okay, so that's, you ready? Ready to try it? Okay. Bread and roses, bread and roses. One more time, okay? Okay. Bread and roses, bread and roses. You ready? All right, let's go. I'll cue you when it comes up. All righty? Okay. As we go marching, marching in the beauty of the day, 1,000,000 darkened kitchens, 1,000 mills gray, are struck with all the radiance that a sudden sun supposes. And the people hear us singing, bread and roses, bread and roses. As we go marching, marching, we battle to for men, for they are women's children, and we mother them life shall not be sweated from birth until life closes. All the people hear us singing, bread and roses, bread and roses. As we go marching, marching, we bring the greater days. For the rising of the women means the rising of the race. No more the drudge and idler, dead and fight while what reposes. Now the glories of life's meaning, bread and roses, bread and roses. Yes, the glories of life's gleanings, bread and roses, bread and roses.
Cool.
Thank you all for singing with me. Let us go back to our seats for the rest of this wonderful service.
Thank you all so much. Phil Oakes was a protest singer, though he preferred the term topical singer. In the early 60s, the civil rights movement was entering its second decade. And while great strides were being made, a giant white wave of obstacles stood in the way of justice. In the state of Mississippi, many years ago, a boy of 14 years got a taste of Southern law. He saw his friend a-hangin', his color was his crime, and the blood upon his jacket left a brand upon his mind. Too many martyrs and too many dead, too many lies, too many empty words were said, too many times for too many angry men. Oh, let it never be again. His name was Medgar Evers, and he walked his road alone, like Emmett Till and thousands more whose names we'll never know. They tried to burn his home, and they beat him to the ground, but deep inside they both knew what it took to bring him down. Too many martyrs and too many dead, too many lies, too many empty words were said, too many times for too many angry men. Oh, let it never be again. The killer waited by his home, hidden by the night, as Evers stepped out from his car into the rifle's sight. He slowly squeezed the trigger, the bullet left his side. It struck the heart of every man when Evers fell and died. Too many martyrs and too many dead, too many lies, too many empty words were said, too many times for too many angry men. Oh, let it never be again. And they laid him in his grave while the bugles sounded clear. They laid him in his grave when the victory was near. While we waited for the future, for freedom through the land, the country gained a killer and the country lost a man. Too many martyrs and too many dead, too many lies, too many empty words were said, too many times for too many angry men. Oh, let it never be again. Oh, let it never be again. Thank you. Justice, of course, is one of our new UU values. We work to be diverse, multicultural, beloved communities where all thrive. We covenant to dismantle racism and all forms of systemic oppression. We support the use of inclusive democratic processes to make decisions within our congregations, our association, and society at large.
Each week, we split our offering between this congregation and an organization that shares our values. Our Share the Plate partner for July is the Maryland School Program. The Maryland School is a Title I school that has long connection with UUCP. Many of our members volunteer there as tutors, garden cultivators, and other important roles. Maryland School's music program has been mostly defunct for several years, and it's in great need of repairs to instruments, new instruments, child size, accessories such as strings and bows and music stands and sheet music. Music is the universal language and the dominant way people learn. The Maryland School has been able to hire 2 outstanding new music teachers, and it would mean the world to them to start the school year knowing they have the supplies they need to succeed. And while we're talking about our newly passed UU values, this is how we practice generosity. We cultivate a spirit of gratitude and hope. We covenant freely and compassionately to share our faith, presence, and resources. Our generosity connects us to one another in relationships of interdependence and mutuality. For all that you give, we are so grateful. Ushers, thank you for your willing hands in helping us to pass the plate.
So when I eagerly volunteered to sing a song at John's 60's folk song service, I had no idea that the overall theme was to integrate the 1960s sense of urgency and social justice with the interpretation of our newly renewed UUA principles. And I'm honored to sing a song that has hit me in my sensitivities in lots of different ways over the course of my life. Please, please, please feel free to sing along to Stephen Still's Anthem of Change, whether we're ready for it or not. There's something happening here. What it is ain't exactly clear. There's a man with a gun over there telling me I gotta beware. I think it's time we stop, children. What's that sound? Everybody look what's going down. There's battle lines being drawn. Nobody's right if everybody's wrong. Young people speaking their minds, getting so much resistance from behind. I think it's time we stop. Hey, what's that sound? Everybody look what's going down. What a field day for the heat. 1,000 people in the street, singing songs and they're carrying signs. Mostly say, hooray for our side. It's time we stop. Hey, what's that sound? Everybody look what's going down. paranoia strikes deep into your life, it will creep. It starts when you're always afraid. Step out of line, the man come and take you away. We better stop. Hey, what's that sound? Everybody look what's going down. Stop. What's that sound? Everybody look what's going down. Stop. Hey, what's that sound? Everybody look what's going down. You better stop.
Outstanding stuff. Thank you, Sam. Well, it's an important practice in this community to make time to share pieces of our lives with one another. Sharing them together, we can amplify the joys and lessen our burdens. If you're on Zoom and you'd like to share joy or sorrow, please type it into the chat. Give us a brief note of what's in your heart today. I'll read out loud what you share. If you're in the sanctuary today, there are cards located at the small table in the back of the sanctuary. I have some right here. Maybe I'll read slow. If you have one, you want to bring it up real quick? As we open this sacred time to share in community, let us open our hearts to the joys and sorrows that we share together and those still in our hearts with a moment of stillness. I have some here. Melanie Spatkin, hope I'm saying that right. Prayers for my husband Chris, who was hospitalized this week with COVID. He is home recovering, but still with symptoms. This one is from Lila Moon. Her grandfather, Phil, gone too soon, died while hiking. He tried to do all the things that would lead to a long and healthy life. We're very sorry for your loss, Lila. We'll wait a few more moments for folks online if they have anything they'd like to share. For all of our joys and sorrows, those named and unnamed, and those in the silent sanctuaries of our hearts, we send our love to each other, both here and online. When we're holding so much in our world and our hearts, it's good to take some time to connect with our body and our spirit. Oftentimes, this can be the only time that we get to do this, to stop and think in our busy weeks. Yes, we've come to the time in our service when we can look inward and bring those forlorn feelings to the center of our frontal cortex. This next song was one of the few introspective early writings from Phil Oakes. It's called Changes. While most of his songs were ripped from the headlines, this one was much more personal. As such, it never appeared on a proper studio album and was only pressed on a live album midway through his career. So for our meditation today, I invite you to, as the following lyrics state, dream about the pictures that I play. So let us soften into the here and now in a spirit of meditation and prayer. Relax and settle into this present moment. sit by my side, come as close as the air, share in a memory of gray, and wander in my words, dream about the pictures that I play of changes. Green leaves of summer turn red in the fall, to brown and to yellow they fade, and then they have to die, trapped within the circle time parade of changes. Scenes of my young years were warm in my mind, visions of shadows that shine, till one day I returned and found they were the victims of the vines of changes. The world spinning madly, it drifts in the dark, swings through a hollow of haze, a race around the stars, a journey through the universe ablaze with changes. Moments of magic will glow in the night, all fears of the forest are gone, but when the morning breaks, they're swept away by golden drops of dawn of changes. Passions will part to a strange melody, as fires will sometimes burn cold, like petals in the wind, we're puppets to the silver strings of souls of changes. Your tears will be trembling now, we're somewhere else. One last cup of wine we will pour, and I'll kiss you one more time and leave you on the rolling river shores of changes. So sit by my side, come as close as the air, share in a memory of gray, and wander in my words, dream about the pictures that I play of changes. Thank you. Amen.
Bob Dylan was known for his protest songs, inspired by Pete Seeger and Woody Guthrie. And he wrote the song Blowin' in the Wind in 1962. When he was asked about the song, he said that the answer was, in the wind. And just like a restless piece of paper, it's got to come down. But the only trouble is that no one picks up the answer when it comes down. So not too many people get to see and know, and then it flies away. He further criticized those who ignore this ephemeral answer by saying that some of the biggest criminals are those that turn their heads away when they see wrong and know wrong. Now, this song was written by Bob Dylan, but it was popularized by the group Peter, Paul, and Mary. I was just in Washington, D.C., and, sorry, just a sec.
It's okay. Technical difficulties happen all
And I
the
had
time.
this song rolling through my head the whole time, especially when I visited the monument to Dr. Martin Luther King. As I walked through that memorial, its message seemed to echo in Dr. King's immortal words and their plea for people to act in the name of liberty and equality to make a lasting change. Like Dylan, King criticized those who turn away from injustice without acting. He believes that the greatest tragedy of this period of social transition was not the strident clamor of the bad people, but the appalling silence of the good people. He and Dylan both called us to take action and combat injustice instead of sitting on the sidelines, to work for transformation in our society. This call to action is still relevant today as we continue to face senseless war, discrimination and inequality, and the appalling silence of those who pretend they just don't see others suffering. And the answer is still blowing in the wind. How many roads must a man walk down before they call him a man? How many seas must a white dove sail before she sleeps in the sand? How many times must the cannonballs fly before they're forever banned? The answer, my friend, is blowing in the wind. The answer is blowing in the wind. How many years must a mountain exist before it is washed to the sea? How many years can some people exist before they're allowed to be free? How many times can a man turn his head and pretend that he just doesn't see? The answer, my friend, is blowing in the wind. The answer is blowing in the wind. How many times must a man look up before he can see the sky? How many ears must one man have before he can hear people cry? How many deaths will it take till he knows that too many people have died? The answer, my friend, is blowing in the wind. The answer is blowing in the wind. The answer is blowing in the wind.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Of course. Oh, yeah.
Transformation. Transformation is a core UU value. We aspire to adapt to the changing world. As stated in our new value system, we covenant to collectively transform and grow spiritually and ethically. Openness to change is fundamental to our Unitarian and Universalist heritages. Never complete and never perfect. And like Dr. King said, change does not roll in on the wheels of inevitability, but comes through continuous struggle. And so we must straighten our backs and work for our freedom and chase down those answers as they blow around us in the winds.
Music in the 60s was full of songs that roused, unite, celebrate, and called to action. Milt Oakham, the bass player for Peter, Paul, and Mary, wrote that songwriters of the 1960s. expanded the accepted meaning of love far beyond merely the personal and romantic. They dealt with our feelings about people, all people, humankind, the problems of life, the need for tenderness. The song I chose to sing is Get Together, written by Chet Powers, and is sometimes called the hippie national anthem. It may be familiar to you because it's been recorded by many artists and used on TV shows and movies. The version done by the Youngbloods was recorded in 1967, the year I graduated high school, and the same year as the Summer of Love in San Francisco. I heard it when it was released in 1969, a period when kids all over the country were taking to the streets to protest the Vietnam War. The UU value we have associated with this song is pluralism. We celebrate that we are all sacred beings, diverse in culture, experience, and theology. We covenant to learn from one another in our freedom and responsible search for truth and meaning. We embrace our differences and commonalities with love, curiosity, and respect.
Amen.
Love is but the song we sing, and fear's the way we die. You can make the mountains ring or make the angels cry. No, the bird is on the wing, and you may not know why. Come on, people now, smile on your brother. Everybody get together, try to love one another right now. Some may come and some may go, we will surely pass. When the one that left us here returns for us at last, we are but a moment's sunlight fading in the grass. Come on, people now, smile on your brother. Everybody get together, try to love one another right now. If you hear the song I sing, you will understand. You hold the key to love and fear, all in your trembling hand. Just one key unlocks them both, it's there at your command. Come on, people now, smile on your brother. Everybody get together, try to love one another right now. Come on, people now, smile on your brother. Everybody get together, try to love one another right now. Right now, right now.
Bill.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Bill. That was beautiful. And thank you all for embracing a bit of change this service. We're all here together, and that's what really counts. We've been referencing our new UU values this morning. These just got passed at the General Assembly in June. Interdependence, equity, justice, generosity, pluralism, and transformation. All of these values exist with love at the center. Love is the power that holds us together and is at the center of our shared values. We are accountable to one another for doing the work of living our shared values through the spiritual discipline of love. We share a love for one another. We share a love for humanity. We share a love for the land in which we exist, the environment that gives us air to breathe and water to drink. America undoubtedly has a sordid history, but it's up to us to make it the best place we can, with hope and opportunities for all who live here and all who want to live here. This next song serves as our sermon. It's about the beauty of this country we share and calls on us to act against the forces of hate that seek to mold it for their benefit. This is Power and the Glory. Come on and take a walk with me through this green and growing land. Walk through the meadows and the mountains and the sand. Walk through the valleys and the rivers and the plains. Walk through the sun and walk through the rain. Here is a land full of power and glory, beauty that words cannot recall. Oh, her power shall rest on the strength of her freedom. Her glory shall rest on us all. From Colorado, Kansas, and the Carolinas to Virginia and Alaska, from the old to the new, Texas and Ohio and the California shore. Tell me who could ask for more? Oh, here is a land full of power and glory, beauty that words cannot recall. Oh, her power shall rest on the strength of her freedom. Her glory shall rest on us all. Yet she's only as rich as the poorest of her poor, only as free as a padlocked prison door, only as strong as our love for this land, only as tall as we stand. So here is a land full of power and glory, beauty that words cannot recall. Oh, her power shall rest on the strength of her freedom. Her glory shall rest on us all. Yet our land is still troubled by men who have to hate. They twist away our freedom and they twist away our fate. Fear is their weapon and treason is their cry. We can stop them if we try. So here is a land full of power and glory, beauty that words cannot recall. Oh, her power shall rest on the strength of her freedom. Her glory shall rest on us all, on us all. Thank you. Thank you all so much. And a huge thank you to everyone who helped me put this service together. Len, Danny, Carrie, Jade, and my incomparable musical compadres, Bill, Amanda, and Sam. Let's give them all a round of applause, please. As we close our service, we remind you to reach out to someone new or someone you haven't seen in a while. Our Exploration Hour activities for children and adults starts at noon and will be listed on the screen following service. Please enjoy our coffee hour, which is in the Johnson Room just across the patio. And we will end our time this morning with a little levity. Above all things, Phil Oakes was deeply enmeshed in the anti-war movement of the 1960s. His songs often included a sardonic wit or dark humor, tied in with, if I could read my own words, I would let you know, tied in with an important message about social justice. He was known to associate with Jerry Rubin and Abby Hoffman's Youth International Party, or the Yippies. They would often perform street theater pranks and were even referred to as Groucho Marxists. Well, this song fits right into that theme, and it is called Draft Dodger Rag. If only I could get these things to... There we go. All right. Draft Dodger Rag. Here we go. I'm just a typical American boy from a typical American town. I believe in God and Senator Dodd and keeping old Castro down. And when it came my time to serve, I knew better dead than red. But when I got to my old draft board, buddy, this is what I said. Sarge, I'm only 18, I got a ruptured spleen, and I always carry a purse. I got eyes like a bat, my feet are flat, and my asthma's getting worse. Oh, think of my career, my sweetheart dear, my poor old invalid aunt. Besides, I ain't no fool, I'm a-going to school, and I'm working in a defense plant. I got a dislocated disc and a racked up back, I'm allergic to flowers and bugs. And when the bombshell hits, I get epileptic fits, and I'm addicted to 1,000 drugs. I got the weakness woes, I can't touch my toes, I can hardly reach my knees. And if the enemy came close to me, well, I'd probably start to sneeze. Sarge, I'm only 18, I got a ruptured spleen, and I always carry a purse. I got eyes like a bat, my feet are flat, and my asthma's getting worse. Oh, think of my career, my sweetheart dear, my poor old invalid aunt. Besides, I ain't no fool, I'm a-going to school, and I'm working in a defense plant. I hate show and lie, I hope he dies, but one thing you gotta see is that someone's gotta go over there, and that someone isn't me. Well, I wish you well, Sarge, give 'em hell, yeah, kill me 1,000 or so. And if you ever get a war without blood and gore, well, I'll be the first to go. Yes, I'm only 18, I got a ruptured spleen, and I always carry a purse. I got eyes like a bat, my feet are flat, and my asthma's getting worse. Oh, think of my career, my sweetheart dear, my poor old invalid aunt. Besides, I ain't no fool, I'm a-going to school, and I'm working in a defense plant. Thank you, thank you. So, while conscription is no longer a fear among young Americans, it is still prevalent in many parts of the world. And it's the moral duty of any conscientious objector to not only reject unjust military action, but do all they can to actively advocate for peace among all humankind. If you'd like to learn more about Phil Oakes, I highly recommend the documentary There But for Fortune, which was picked up by PBS for their American Masters series in 2012, or you can talk to me at Coffee Hour, which starts right now. Go in peace, go in love.